Welcome to Alice Alicia Jones. I am very happy to have you here, and I am going to be giving the messages from the Deva of Poplars. Those of you who may have looked at my previous YouTubes discovered that effectively I had two poplar trees fall on my home on the 21st of July. And because I take responsibility for my creations, the first thing I did was contact the Deva of Trees to ask her why this had happened to me. And shortly thereafter, I also contacted the Deva of Poplars and asked her for her messages to me too. The word Deva itself just simply stands for the architect of form. That is the being who brings that particular article or place or form into being. And the Deva of Trees brought trees into existence. The Deva of Poplars brought poplars into existence. And so effectively, I wanted to see what it was that she was all about, and why she was such an ominous presence in my life. And the incredible thing was that I received messages from the Deva of Poplars that really were very, very special to me. The first ones came in on the 27th of July, and I just want to go over these with you, and then I would like to share with you those that came in 3 days later, because they have a totally different theme to them. And the first thing the Deva of Poplars said is, go stand with your back to the trunk of a poplar. And there was one in our backyard. It's actually a double tree. It's joined at the base, about 4 feet off the ground. And as I stood with my back towards it, I discovered that one part of it was curved enough so that it perfectly fit the curvature of my back. So she also said in the next moment, relax and soften your face. And I recognize that, yes, I can absolutely agree with that, because what had happened is in the commotion of having all the people in our home immediately trying to help us with what had happened. Externally, I kept a very calm composure. Internally, I probably was roiling. And so when she said to relax and soften your face, I absolutely felt that, oh my God, I think you're onto something. And then her next advice was 10 minutes of direct sunlight every day. Fortunately, that morning, as I was standing with my back against the tree, I had the most delicious amount of sunlight streaming in on me. And I was very, very grateful for that, and just so amazed that the sun felt as good as it did. Today it's raining. You can barely tell because it still is very light and very bright outside, but effectively there is no sunlight. And so I couldn't do that this morning, because even in from the very early hours of the morning, it was overcast. And so she basically tells us, get 10 minutes of direct sunlight daily. The next one, and this is truly extremely important for us. Breathe deeply. because your breath is your direct connect to God. And I absolutely agree with that because I know that we as human beings on this planet can live without food for months. We can live without water for weeks, but we can live without breath for only minutes. So it's breath that connects us to our Creator. And we have that is a wonderful reminder to us to connect to our Creator on a daily basis. This next one also made me laugh because I thought, touche, she pegged me. Stand straight and tall, sit straight and tall. And standing straight and tall, not too much difficulty. I generally do that, but sitting straight and tall, in certain chairs, yes, I do, not in all. At the end of the day, when I sit on the couch, I have a real bad tendency to slouch into the corner as if I'm kind of half laying, half sitting. So that was a direct message for me. This next one, kind of interesting. Observe everything around you. No blinders on. And I recognize that so much of the time, because I live in my own head, I go through life with my to do list kind of rattling off here, there, and everywhere. And so I may not at all see what is around me. And the irony to observing what is around me is today is Monday. Well, in the middle of the night, Sunday night, I woke up and it was only 3 o'clock, but it was so bright out in spite of the room darkening shades that I had on uh, in our bedroom. It still was very light in the home. And I kept thinking it, and I felt extremely energized. And I thought, it's got to be a full moon. And sure enough, I went to my Reiki room, looked at my calendar, and there's the symbol of the full moon, and for Monday the 3rd. So I realized we were going right into the full moon, the energy of the full moon, because typically 2 days before, the day of, and 2 days after, we have a full moon, and we get the same, most of the same intensity of that energy. And for me, it's just like I just feel like somebody's given me an extra shot of adrenaline. Is the way I feel. And so that was part of observe everything that is around you. And the next piece of advice really goes in keeping with the same. It says, notice what is not harmonious, eliminate it. And interestingly enough, because of what is going on the planet now and the fact that we have so much free time, one of the same um, themes that has been playing out for us is clean out your clutter. And frankly, that doesn't only mean rooms and closets and drawers. It means things like file cabinets and purses and other little favorite places that we tuck things away with the intention of coming back to them, but never coming back to them. And effectively, I always have a project of some sort on a tray, tucked away underneath either a piece of furniture, and it seems like that can stay there for years at times. And so one by one, I am eliminating those projects, and I am going to make a list of every single one, and until I get through that list. I've promised myself that. This next one is I absolutely loved. I've done it instinctively for years. It says, surround yourself with the colors that make you happy. And effectively, I felt when I went into my closet to take out the clothes that I was to wear, I recognized that my guides were basically telling me what to put on. I would say, no, this color, not, nope, not that one, this one. And each color effectively harmonized with the energy of that day. And each color just made me feel very, very good. And the only thing I would have to do is if it's summer, obviously, I do. I feel even though our temperature is set at 74 degrees inside the house, it still is a little too chilly for me. So I have a tendency to have a jacket or a sweater, a light jacket or a sweater that, or a blouse that I put on when I go into the house, because the outside I'm perfectly comfortable. And it doesn't matter what the heat, it doesn't matter what the humidity is. I'm one of those people who absolutely loves outdoor warmth. And so that makes me happy. That the next one, she turned to plants. And she said, plant flowers that repeat, which are perennials that come back year after year. So effectively, once you put them in the ground, you really only have to make sure that you've planted them in an area that they get the right sun or shade and the right moisture. You can't plant, um, put something in the ground that will do okay in a desert and put it kind of in where you get a lot of water, because it will develop root rot. But if a plant is happy and it's a perennial, a lot of times it will also just grow and expand and expand. So this goes right in keeping with the next bit of advice she gave. And she said, choose a color plant palette that you like, and hardy plants. And the color palette is really important. If you absolutely do not like a certain color, don't buy that plant for your garden. Or if you feel one color doesn't harmonize with another color as well as you would like it to, don't buy it. And then, and this is uh, very important too, perennials have a tendency to spread. So if you are going to buy a perennial, make sure that you like it, because if you don't like it, you're going to be, after a number of years, you're going to find yourself pulling it out because it's so invasive and you're not happy with it and you're not happy with the results. So please let it, when you put something in, make sure that for the area that it can spread into, that you're going to be okay with that. Um, then the next thing, and this is just shows that how the plants look out for each other. She said, plant flowers that feed the birds, whether they're with seeds or with berries. And effectively, all the seed heads that after the flower has left, and the seed heads in my garden are, to me, they're a work of beauty. And I look upon them as a work of art, because the birds and sometimes even the butterflies are attracted to the seed heads. I don't think the butterflies get any nourishment. They might just land on them, but the birds certainly get nourishment. The berries, in my willingness to plant a bush that fed the birds continuously, I bought a beauty bush. Well, I never read the instructions as to how big and how wide and how bushy a beauty bush can get. And so I put it at the front of my garden. Well, it really belonged in the middle and of the garden. because it has basically just taken over its spot. It's kind of like hiding other bushes, but my God, do the birds love it, because every single stem of the beauty bush has, first it has lovely little tiny little white flowers, and then the most precious little lavender berries. So every single stem might have 100 berries or more. And by the end of winter, I noticed that all of the berries are gone. The whole bush is stripped of berries, with a few exceptions. But so it's just a joy. And I guess I'm just going to have to live with the invasiveness of this beauty bush, because my birds absolutely are thriving because of it. Um, and this next one, I actually covered it already. It says, choose carefully the perennials that spread, and make sure that you like them, because as they spread and they're just annoying to you, you're going to be ripping them out. And you've got to remember, every single one of those flowers, every single leaf, every single blade of grass is somebody's home. It belongs to one of the fairies. So we, at some point in our existence, we're going to have to give up our love affair with grass. But I cannot presume that that would happen anytime soon. But we can absolutely control the flowers that we plant in areas where we plant them. And the last thing I wanted to share with you before I go on to the next list, the list that came in 3 days later, was because I was standing with my back against the tree, I just absolutely marveled at the speed and the clarity that these messages came in. I heard them very distinctly, very clearly. They didn't come in a rush. They didn't come in as an impression. They came in as full sentences. So I do recommend that you do that, and hopefully you will be able to get messages of your own. And then when I connected with the Deva of the trees 3 days later, I noticed that these messages were totally different. They had a different vibrational feel to them, and they absolutely had a different tone. So effectively, um, these the messages that came in from the Deva of Poplars 3 days later was, stand in your own truth. Do not look to others to validate you. And too many times when I was first starting out on my spiritual path, I literally felt that if somebody didn't agree with something that I had to say, that I did not have the right to say it. That is not true. Everybody, fortunately, in the United States of America, has the right to say what they think. And if you think of all the low vibrational messages that are being spread, these, as far as I'm concerned, and I would like to think that messages from the spirit guides come in as high vibrations. So please stand in your own truth. Be willing to share what it is that you have to share, and do not look at others to validate you, because frankly, 50% of the people are going to disagree with what you have to say. No matter what you say, 50% will disagree with you. The second one was, understand that you are also part angel, part archangel, part ascended master, and I would like to add, part ET. Every single one of us has a soul that starts as a monad. And that monad, which is a piece of God, splits into 12 souls, and each soul splits into 12 soul personalities. So at any given time, exploring one theme, variations of one theme, there is 144 pieces of you running around this planet, this dimension, other planets, other dimensions. So effectively, you are exploring a theme, but there are other monads that are also you. So effectively, this is a concept I'm trying to wrap my head around. I'm trying to get more information on it. And I will probably have a YouTube video on it as soon as I feel that I can confidently share a little bit more than what I've already told you. The next is break from the tradition of following the crowd. Stay on your own path or set your own path. And effectively, I always think back on what Emerson says: do not follow a path that other people have set, break a trail and make your own path. So I know I'm not quoting directly, but it's something to that gist. And this is part of breaking with consensus reality. We all want to fit in. We all want to be part of a group. But those of us who are willing to be the people that we were meant to be on this planet are not going to stay with consensus reality. So effectively, yes, we are going to buck the trend. And this next bit of advice comes directly in keeping with it. Do what is right for you, whatever the consequences, because you have your own soul contract. Every single one of us is completely a unique human being. No one else on this planet, unless you are an identical twin, has the exact same genes that you do. So effectively, you are completely unique and you have the right to follow your own unique path. I love this next one. It says, glory in what is rightfully yours, uniquely yours. And it is absolutely amazing. But again, because we are unique, there is no other person on this planet exactly like we are. So we have the right to be the highest expression of ourselves. And this next one goes right in keeping with that. Express your divine self by sticking to a regimen that honors the spiritual expression of yourself, a regimen that absolutely says, this is who I am, and this is the way that I want to express myself. And hopefully, as you learn more, especially as you accept that more and higher vibrations, you will become a kinder version of yourself. The next one is embrace all life as an extension of who you really are. And I loved the word embrace, because what was happening to me in that exact moment that I was getting that message is that there was a small beech tree that was next to the poplar. And that beech tree sent out a tendril of a branch, and that branch kept insisting on hugging me. And so it came in from my right shoulder and ultimately ended up on my left shoulder. And I felt this absolutely distinct feeling of being hugged. And I absolutely loved it. I was just so, so grateful. And I got this amazing feeling from the beach that it was so grateful that I recognized what it was trying to do. So just again, very, very. This is part of living consciously, and just seeing the life in all things. Um, this next one is bring forth life as you know it to honor all men, not just a select few. And yes, we're all very comfortable in our little groups of people that we like to circle around with. But effectively, what this is saying, expand. Don't just stay in a tiny little group. Expand, reach out to others, do more things that help other people become a better version of themselves, and do more things to help humanity. And the last one is break with the tradition of to get along, go along. As to the best of my knowledge, these words were spoken by LBJ. That was his theme, to get along, go along, when he was in the Senate. And I feel that that is, again, being stuck in consensus reality. So break from that tradition, make your own. Make your own path, make your own way to be, like I said earlier, the best version of who you can be to help other people on this planet become the best version of who they can be. I thank you for watching. I will hopefully do another one of these. My goal is to do one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you. Let's see how, I guess I'm not I'm not sure how to end this. I'm pressing end stream, which it's supposed to end, but it doesn't seem to want to end it.